Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. Courtney, do you have to do the Blythe thing?
He's not here. I have to pick up the slack.
Are you going to complain about Baby Yoda too while you're at it?
No, because I like
and the
Baby
Goonies
Yoda.
and all that other stuff. You going to do that for us?
Geeky
I like
Page, don't
Baby
you have to
Yoda.
pick up the slack when he's here too?
Oh!
That
You
was
hear,
shots
you hear that, Blythe?
fired.
You hear that, Blythe?
Let's just start this episode over.
Keeping that in. I'm keeping it in.
Oh, that stays. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I am looking forward
Liz,
to
I love
the
you.
war. I look
Right.
forward to the war next time we're all on screen
It's
together.
going to be so good.
Woo,
I'm
this is
excited.
good. Okay, we are discussing one of my earliest movie loves, and that is the NeverEnding Story, with one of the greatest songs ever made as well. And I'm not even being a little ironic on that. One of the greatest songs ever made. Let's introduce the panel first. First off, we have Mr. Sean and his magical beard. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm super good. How are you, my friend?
I'm outstanding. Thank you for
Amazing.
asking.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
you're
my
just
beard,
nestling
my
in
beard
that
as well.
Your
My
beard as well?
well?
Mm-hmm.
I like it when you guys are simpatico.
Full of body.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. When we're not, it tries to eat my face. It's just weird.
That's actually an epic thought. Are you eating your beard or is your beard eating you?
We need
Okay.
somebody to animate that.
Oh, Liza,
I think
get on.
I'm horrified by that thought right there. So
A little bit. Okay, and the other guy on the top of the screen, we have Mr. Skeeter. How are you doing, bud?
I am stellar. Just having a great day.
Outstanding. And how many times did we watch this movie growing up?
Oh my goodness.
You can't count that high, can you? This was
No.
one of the first VHSs we had.
Yes.
VHS, kids. Yes, VHS. I don't have to hear from Blythe. That's nice. So, yeah.
he knows what it is. He's just a poop face.
And now for the pretty side of the screen, we have.
So tell me.
Let's start with Miss Geeky Page. How are you doing today? Stop trying to reflect. Thank you.
I'm good. I'm a little tired, so I apologize to everybody today.
Yeah, we
It's
did
a little
early
earlier
today.
It's a little earlier than I'm used to, and I've been on vacation all week, so there's like that whole sleeping in thing, like I'm some lazy teenager.
You
So-
slept in?
Well, like till about like 8 o'clock. It was awesome.
Oh, that's
amazing.
not
Young
old
people-
anymore.
Right. Young people sleeping in till 8 o'clock when you have a full-time job, that's totally sleeping in. I don't want to hear it.
For me, sleeping in more than 6 hours at a time is sleeping.
You're usually still working, and while
I
I'm
am working
sleeping.
when you're up. But that changes this week, but that's another story altogether. And finally, we have Miss Satomi, the other pretty part of the screen. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Wow, that we're gonna have we are gonna have some great audio with that. I give you this nice build up. Good. That sounds like the interview from hell right there.
I am containing my excitement because I, as you, believe that song is probably one of the best songs ever made in so many ways. And instead of watching it many, many times as a child on VHS, I still watch that movie on a regular basis.
Yes.
Just saying.
And just FYI, if you're not like us, like I think most of the people on this panel and already have it on DVD or whatever, it is available on HBO Max or Plus or
Yes,
whatever
it
it's called. What's it called? HBO what?
Max.
HBO Max.
Okay.
It's HBO
Disney-
Max, Disney Plus.
Disney, yeah.
There it is. Thank you. I can't keep up anymore. It's when geeks can't keep up anymore, there's too much. So let's start with, I think, probably the most important part, the thing that starts the entire movie, and it's that song with that nice little synth pop thing that just starts the whole thing. What is it about this song that, I mean, it is timeless. It's let's be fair, it's dated, it's very 80s, but it's still at the same time feels like something that you can grasp onto no matter what your generation is. What is it about this song? Go ahead, Sean.
I think that this just, I'll kick it off with this. I think that it's one of those defining things. Like, this movie was in a category all its own. It was something that we hadn't really seen something like this before. Not specifically like this, like the fact that it got so meta and it was so important to us. And so this is the anthem for that song. So it could have been the song could have been not good, and I think that it would still be indelibly imprinted into pop culture. I mean, Stranger Things, they covered that song in Stranger Things. It's one of those songs where you hear it and
It's
you're
iconic.
instantly you're instantly transported back to that movie.
Although can I disagree?
Please.
No.
I mean, okay, all right. I agree.
No, we're not. We're not
please.
that kind of show. Disagree. Go for it.
I mean, I agree. However, once it was on Stranger Things, the popularity that it gained again from new listeners, I think speaks to how strong the writing was in the first place. I think it's an extremely strong melody. There's something that's really hummable about it, and yet it's not so simple that it's childish. It's childlike, which like the childlike Empress, it's that same sort of like call to something deeper from a melodic standpoint.
It's very complex. It's very complex in its the way it's written.
And let me clarify. At no point did I say the song was bad. I agree with you, and I think it is very good. What I was saying
you were about to get some
that
like hate.
if the song had been bad,
remember
then I think
the love I had
been
for you.
Iconic.
Okay, you have it back. You have it back.
You can go back. This is recorded, so everyone can double check. I said if.
Okay.
So the star power that they did bring onto that show or to that song at the time, Kaja Gugu was like the biggest band out there. Them and the Thompson Twins. Wow, I'm dating myself, but they were the biggest bands at that time. And they brought him on like, oh, it's nothing. He's not going to play bass either. He's going to just sing. With that heart.
Him
heart
and Beth
thing.
Anderson and
Beth Anderson, was she Broadway?
You know what? I actually don't know. I know very little about her.
She sounds so Broadway to me. And that's part of where my love of Broadway singing comes from is her voice. And I think I don't know if it was or not.
It's so funny because she just sounds 80s to me.
Really?
When you talk, well, I mean, just quick little side path. So 80s, you had a lot of stars that had training. So like Pat Benatar her mom was an opera singer.
Yeah. She had opera training.
Girl knew how to sing, but that because of the space that it creates in your instrument, you have a fuller sound rather than the thinner sound that's really popular right now. Nothing wrong with it.
Oh, yes, there is. Oh, we're being snobs. Okay.
Yeah.
We're allowed.
But such a fantastic song. Anybody else have anything before we move on? And
we just got to acknowledge Giorgio Moroder. I can only say it in Italian. Giorgio Moroder is the one who wrote the music to it, and that's what made it so powerful. And if y'all look him up, he actually wrote all kinds of hits that you never even knew that he had his hands in on.
One of those like the hit what is it, the hit
like
crew,
Diane Warren
Crew or something like that type thing.
Like one of those people where you hear a song from that time period and you're like, oh my god, it's him again. So
nice.
Sean, I interrupted you. You were going to
No. The only other thought I had is more of an anecdote. I almost did a lying fact, but I'm not going to do that this episode. I'm not going to do that.
I don't know if
he
you
says
believe
that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But if any of you old school internet fogies are listening, Homestar Runner had a bit like if you waited after the Strong Bad emails long enough, there's one where he was pouring out a thing of Mountain Dew on Strong Bad's computer. And it kept going. And then after about a minute, he goes, whoa, this is like the NeverEnding Soda. The NeverEnding Soda.
Oh, that's so bad.
It was so great.
Okay, I do want to jump on that, but I got to hit one last thing with the song is the way that the visuals were on those credits with the clouds and all that. I mean, that looks like before we knew what computers was, that was a screensaver. And it was just like the most amazing looking thing.
That's
the crazy thing about the credits if anybody just watched it like recently again just to kind of cover it, did anybody else think that did I already watch the whole movie and it's over now? Because they ran
no one does that
credits for the beginning of the movie. I was like, wait, what just happened? And I was like, oh nope, that's the beginning. Okay.
Yep. I mean, it's part of what creates that sort of cyclical feel because the song itself
is never
fades in. It never you never hear it quote unquote start. It fades in and then it fades out. If you listen to any recordings of it, same thing. So since you're hitting it at the beginning and you're hitting it at the end, you get that feeling like,
Wait,
Hmm.
like
I
it's
think
a
you just-
Never-ending story.
story.
oh my God, Sean.
Okay,
My
this
work
joke
here
is
is
going to
done.
die.
My work
Okay,
here
all
is
right.
done.
Oh,
This joke is going to
this is gonna be
die.
the whole episode.
Okay, let's start with the quote unquote real world. You enter in, and we're in the real world with Barrett Oliver, who's Bastion, who, in my opinion, was the whiniest hero ever.
I think it was
wasn't
directed that way.
I wasn't a tough kid by any stretch of the imagination, but that dude I kind of wanted to beat up. I mean,
If we were still doing top fives, Luke would go higher than Bastion for whiny heroes. For me.
Agreed.
I don't think
Agreed.
so.
Yeah.
But I was going into
impossible.
Tachi Station for some power converters.
But he at
I
least
mean,
That's
steps.
true.
He at least steps out of it when.
By Jedi, it takes him to Jedi to get
But
there.
Bastion, by the end, I mean, he has literally all the power in the universe. Well, what do I do though? I have all the power in the universe. What do I do though?
Yeah, but it took
What if-
three
What if I
movies
don't
for Luke to
know
get
how
it together.
wish? I've been complaining about my mom this whole time, and I'm not going to wish for her either.
I have to keep my feet on the ground.
I'm gonna shout gibberish into the wind, and
Can we
everyone's gonna
talk
pick
about
up a
that?
name.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
Let's
how
get to that
many
later.
people-
Let's get to that later.
Okay.
Stop,
I do
rewind,
wanna hit
play,
that, though.
Stop, rewind, play. on
oh
that
my
one.
God. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we all know what the name is now. I think
I
we
don't
do.
know. What
Okay.
is it?
Oh, you
No,
don't?
We'll tell you in a
No.
second. We'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to hear what. Be honest. What did you think the name was that he named the Empress, and why did her parents name her that in the first place? Anyway, so what did you think the original name was when you were watching it as a kid? Let's start with. I know me and Skeeter had a lot of theories on this growing up. What did you think it was,
Who?
Skeeter?
Oh, there was Mariah. There was
Yeah.
Morla. I don't even know. It was
Okay.
something with the M and
Sean, what was your theory on it?
It was either PB and Jason or Mufasa.
I thought it was Moon River because
yeah.
Because she
Yeah.
was
We're
wider
close.
than a mile.
which actually wasn't too far off. So tell me, what did you think it was?
I've got to be honest. I literally thought we weren't supposed to hear what it was because the whole point of the film is that we've been taken on this journey so that we could name her whatever we wanted.
That's also what we call lazy writing.
From me?
Or brilliant
No.
writing.
No, if that's what the writers actually did, that would be called lazy writing. Courtney, what do you think it is before you hear the name?
I thought it started with a B, and I'm like, why would she have such? Like, I don't remember exactly what I thought it was, but I do know I played the rewind, listen game like 1,000 times, and I'm like, what is he screaming into the wind? Enunciate, child, enunciate.
For the
If it's
kids
I
starting-
want to
listening-
know.
for the kids listening, there used to be these things called VCRs in which we had to
Yeah.
stop, hit rewind, and play stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no loop feature or anything.
No.
If it started with a B, what if her name was like Barbara?
Oh.
Right, like I thought it was something very boring like that. And I'm like, why would the childlike empress be named like Betty?
That'd be awesome. if her name was Barbara and the childlike empress is like, you know what? Never mind. I'm out.
Right. And like I can understand because
Some
we
name
all
and you're
believe Betty
dumb.
White is going to save the universe. So there are some very cool Bettys.
That's true.
But
Indeed.
it's like, why? I could never understand. I'm like, she should have like a cool name and whatever you're screaming into the wind there, non-enunciator. I think I called him Mumbles for the longest time. I showed the movie to my brother because he's 5 years younger, and I'm like, you're not going to know what he says because he mumbles.
So who wants to share the real name with Courtney?
Please.
You should.
I'm kind of
Do it.
enjoying watching her squirm on it a little bit. This is fun.
Dude,
No.
There's this magic
okay.
box right here that I could look it up if I wanted to.
Moonchild.
Like,
Which means this
no.
movie was so 80s that the parents had to be born in the 60s.
Right, like they were hippies.
Mhm.
Although
And
the dad
lived in
definitely
a
was not a
commune.
hippie.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
no.
Well, then they were my parents, so
It seems like it definitely would have been an 80s sitcom with the hippie mom and the straight-laced stock market dad. I think
They're
that's what it
Family
was.
ties.
They're
Yes.
literally my parents.
Does that make you Alex or Mallory?
My mom was. I'm probably Mallory. My brother's more Alex, but yeah, no. My mom's a giant hippie, and my dad was a 3-piece suit wearing 19.
Gerald McCraney.
Gerald McCraney.
I mean,
McCraney.
my mom
McCraney.
has managed to loosen him up quite a bit in the 40 years that they've been married. But yeah, we tease because they were the hippie and the lawyer.
I mean, dude walks into the scene making an orange Julius, straight orange juice and
Oh
a
my
raw
God.
egg.
Dropping an egg
Ugh.
in.
Like, you gotta stop
That's-
daydreaming, kid.
That's
Like,
so
wow,
80s too,
I'm
though,
8.
because everybody was in that weird.
Everyone wanted to be Rocky.
Yeah, it's like that American. It's like the American Psycho level
Well,
of health.
Everybody
80s
went to
had.
an Orange Julius in the 80s at the mall, and
Yep.
that's how they made them. And if you would have known that as a kid, you wouldn't have drank it. But
I agree because I did not know that,
Until,
and I
right,
would not
you
have
were
it drunk.
today's years old
Yes,
when you learned
I
Orange
will
Julius is a
regularly
raw
eat.
egg.
I'll regularly eat a raw egg under certain circumstances, but had I known,
Geeky Page, I will tell you that I totally agree. This is all I have to say. I grew up when I grew up, my dad listened to Huey Lewis and the News, and my mom listened to Cat Stevens and Jim Croce. So you now know the dynamic of my parents.
Is it bad that
Yep,
they are
that's-
both in my set list or my
Oh no,
Spotify
not at
list?
They
all.
should be.
Same. That's the reason that my music tastes are so eclectic.
Yep, I feel like we've just connected on another level here, Sean.
Yeah.
Because that's my parents
touch
too.
it. Touch the webcam.
That's weird, and creepy. I don't like that at all. Okay, let's talk about
It's
the
like
bully.
E.T. all of a sudden. I'll be right here.
Yeah.
oh, speaking of ET, do y'all know that supposedly?
We are herding cats. Herding
Right.
cats. Go ahead.
Do you all know that supposedly he is in the scene in the Ivory Tower along with
Yes.
a couple
Like his
of
whole
other...
race of people are supposed
He
to
is
be
there.
there.
There's two of them. There's two.
Yeah. It's his mom and dad.
I can't
He's-
find them.
He's right by he's right in front of and probably one person ahead of the three-faced tree guy.
Yes.
You look at him and like two people ahead, there they are.
They've actually said that E.T. was a prequel to this movie, and that is an actual fact.
I don't know if you're
I'm
getting
sorry.
ready for this again.
I'm sorry.
See,
You couldn't
this-
even get it all the way
I'm
out.
gonna get it
I'm gonna
out.
stop. I won't do it this episode. I promise. I'm done. That was the only one.
You could not even get the whole lie out. Like it's
Okay.
like I'm gonna lie. No, I'm not.
Oh, that's my
Before we
whole
get to
life. I feel so
Fantasia.
called out.
Before we get to Fantasia, let's discuss the wussiest bullies on the planet. These
80s
guys,
bullies usually were, except
these
for
80s bullies
the
grew
ones
up
in
to
Karate
be.
Kids.
Yeah, these 80s bullies grew up to be the bullies for weird science. It's just, who did they intimidate? And they seem like
Bastion.
Bastion, the
Bastion.
whiniest hero ever.
yeah.
Just Bastion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
no
want
other kid in the world gonna take that.
I want to see Gamora eat those kids though.
They're kind of like I'm sure they sat around the school and said, okay, who is dorkier than we are? That kid.
That kid, he's the
We're
only
gonna
one.
dominate that kid.
They
so
were
we
taking
can,
it
yes.
out on him because they were abused themselves.
See, I was
those
going for a
boys were
joke
beat
and you went
up.
all serious.
And now I feel bad.
Those
I
boys
don't.
those boys were beat up by the drama department. I'm just saying.
Hey, we could.
I would like to say
we could
that I was
throw
in
down
the
if we
drama
need
department.
to.
So was I.
But
So
like,
was I.
yeah, but when we fight, we're like,
Right? There's a lot of jazz hands that happen.
Yeah.
Why?
mhm.
Crazy.
We can throw down though, but
However, I will say
No.
that there are a lot of nerds that were like rolling for initiative in fights. They were like, "You want to fight? Hold on, let me get my die 20 out."
right.
Oh, does anybody else miss those square backpacks?
Ooh.
No,
You remember the
No.
square backpacks?
Ooh.
They look like Rainbow Bright on those kids, but I thought they were actually kind of cool. No,
Like
it's not just my nostalgia because I wanted one as a kid. I never had one.
I had a square ballet bag, so I don't remember the square backpacks.
Yes, Miss Overachieving Artistic type again. I was in ballet. I'm on Broadway. I'm better than you.
It was
all. I'm
very
just-
important. I loved it. No,
Well, the reason she was in ballet is
It's
why.
yeah.
The reason she's on Broadway is
No.
because
It's
she was
'cause
in ballet.
that's a whole thing because I was far from my teacher's favorite. I was the little fat kid that
Really?
no matter how hard I tried, I was never good enough to
Wow,
be as
this-
good as the other kids, even though I loved it so much.
I am about to cry today. This is like
I'm
sad.
top heavy.
Me
Okay.
too.
And then
I'm just bad at dancing.
And then the all-time creepiest character in this, creepier than Gamora, creepier than the Nothing, creepier than anything in this movie, was the bookstore owner. I'm like,
I disagree.
Bastion, don't shut the door, Bastion. That guy. That's I think that's the guy from the very special Different Strokes episode. Just stay away from that guy. He's scary. Anybody else get those creepy
It
vibes?
just got dark.
That's
No,
because he went into the nothing.
that guy was scary to me. Where did he get this book? And why is that the only one that he says you couldn't? This is the only exciting thing in the world. Don't read it. I'm like,
Well, I don't understand why he's got it at a bookstore if he's going to be such a pain in the butt and not let anybody read the darn thing.
Right.
Well, because he's presenting a challenge to the kid.
he's the wizard that you meet
He's
at the
wizard.
pub or at the
He's magic.
tavern.
That's why he
Yeah.
has it. And so, he's providing the temptation for the kid to be, it's got to be special, so it's got to be desired for the kid to. Now, the one thing I thought that was really freaking weird is that the kid essentially stole the book,
And he
Right,
smiles.
he runs out of there.
and then the guy's like, "Yeah."
You're screwed. You're never gonna get out of there now, kid.
Probably hoping that the nothing eats him.
He's hoping that he's not in the sequel. That's all he was hoping for.
Oh
Right.
gosh, let's not talk about the sequels.
The 2 sequels.
Yeah, we will not be discussing those because they're horrible and they really crap on the legacy of one of the greatest kid movies ever made. Okay, you don't agree, Sean?
Huh? No. I did
God.
not disagree. I was laughing at the comment. But
They're absolutely
one of the
terrible.
things that I was going to say, though, is that for someone who loves this movie, Dub sure hates this movie.
No, I love this. No, that's the problem when I really love something. That
Mhm.
if you try to do anything on that name and you don't do well, I'm upset by it. And that's
No,
a
I
common
totally
geek
get that.
malady. But
No,
Yeah.
I totally get that. And the truth be told, I think I'm too easy on movies because really, and we'll get into it at some point, I'm sure. I only had literally one complaint with this movie. And otherwise I was like fully in the whole time. So I'm too easy on movies.
I'm
I
with
have
you,
a few
Sean.
now that I'm older, but
Yeah,
with the
now-
nostalgia factor, there's nothing that can top this movie. This spoiler, this will be my first A+ that I give any movie. So,
I will say the same thing. Like growing up, it was amazing. Watching it as an adult, I wanted to punch Bastion in the face, like, just because. Oh,
see
my
why we were
God,
friends growing up. Yeah.
that kid, like Just
Oh man.
his interaction with the book, I was like, "What in the world?"
Yeah, I will
It's
admit
like
the one
bringing you to
moment when he's
violence
like-
against
when he's
children.
He's like, I have to save the rest of this sandwich for 2 hours from now.
Yes.
Nice. Oh my
Isn't
gosh.
he-
Okay.
Wait, isn't he
takes
in his
e-bikes.
own house?
No.
No,
Oh no,
he's
he's in
in
somebody.
school.
Okay. Oh, he's
He's
in
in the
school.
attic.
That's right. Like he
Cool.
can't sneak down to get food or anything.
Everybody has access to this attic because it's broken. So obviously everybody knows where it is. Does the
Right.
janitor check when they shut off the lights? No.
The teenage,
No one's up
teenage
there.
kids are out there making out. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
He didn't reach on anybody that was making out up there.
It would be more
Taxidermy.
realistic if he had gone up there and it had been like empty beer cans everywhere.
right? There
A
should be
broken bong.
cigarette butts and beer cans everywhere.
I'm glad it didn't though.
Taxidermy all over the place. Like, what in the heck?
I'm glad because it had that true childlike innocence that is the only world that Bastion can survive in. Is that it's got to be just have that innocence everywhere.
You know, it's something just occurred to me now. I know my brain actually works sometimes. So, Wolfgang Peterson, who directed it, apparently was an absolute perfectionist, like
It shows.
crazy, to the point
Yeah.
where the film was only supposed to shoot for 3 months and it actually took a year to shoot.
Mm.
And I am wondering if there's a little bit of a cultural thing there because German culture, we're talking about the birthplace of the fairy tale
Mhm.
of Western fairy tale.
True.
So I'm wondering if there's a little bit of that cultural oneness of a character, like single, like
That line.
like even
Timeline. Yeah.
Pinocchio. Pinocchio stays a brat for the longest time before he
Mhm.
starts learning any lessons. So I'm wondering if it's just it was like a cultural thing that Bastion is whiny and then has to have this catharsis that changes him.
I'm not going to buy
Instead
it
of-
because he was still whiny
Okay.
at the end.
Okay, all right.
It's close.
All
No, I like what you're saying until you hit that point. I'm like,
right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All
I
right.
know
It was
that-
just a thought. It was just a
It
thought.
feels like they definitely did want to have him grow up and be tough after that, or be, a man after that, and it just didn't happen. And I don't know if that's the acting, the directing, whatever. But I mean, that kid was in like 20 movies. So.
I'm jumping over to the Satomi side of this for just a minute, and I want to say that I think that from a character exploration standpoint, that I get what they were doing. That like this was a critical moment, like with this thing. He's finally made this decision in the movie that he's going to keep his head out of the clouds and he's going to please his dad. And so I think that the whininess was less about being whiny and more about him
Yeah.
just really resisting this thing and then finally choosing in the end that no, okay, I'm about to get like way heavy for this show.
Oh,
and,
no.
and I
Do
promise
it.
it's only for a second. And I love my father dearly. My father is a great man, is one of my favorite people in the world. But my dad is a very practical man. And my
Mhm.
dad did not want me to be an actor. And we had a huge confrontation about him telling me that he considered himself a failure because I was a performer. Now, because I'm a successful
That makes
performer,
me
that's
sad.
totally changed.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
totally changed. But I remember that critical moment of having to tell my father, I don't care what you think. I'm gonna be who I am, So that moment could be, the book could represent that. Could
Yeah.
represent him yelling that name out and then coming into his own. And even the, I don't know what to do here, with the person who he's now named his mother,
Yeah.
like that's a representation of his mom. So I can see from a symbolic perspective and from a character developed perspective, but I do think that you are right that they missed the mark and that they made it maybe they could have dialed back the
Yeah.
whiny from an 11 to like an 8,
Yeah.
So.
But, I'm not defending. A lot of parents do that, and I'm not defending it, but at the same time, that was your challenge point. Honestly, would you be who you were if he didn't throw that gauntlet down?
No, not at all. And
so
I know for a fact that what he was doing was trying to protect his kid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they brought into that effect that, when he walks into that bookstore, that dude kicks him out. He's like, kid, you don't belong in here.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he's
I
like,
do too.
You're not
Yeah.
a reader. And he's like, I've read. And he just starts rattling off all the books that he's read. And the guy's like, whoa, hold on a minute. Like, it kind of shows some kids that that's what they did. They were stuck in a book, like a little blonde,
Oh,
tiny
shut up,
blonde
Skeeter.
7th grader stuck in a book getting picked on.
I suddenly got a really cute
Get
picture
away
jump in my
from
head.
Right?
Yeah, no, I'm not that guy anymore. It's all good. But
No,
it did
definitely not.
set the foundation for who I became. With that being said, we're going to go into Fantasia now, but first a quick commercial, and then we're going to do our listener feedback right in.
Hello, our geek rock stars. I'm Satomi Hoffman with I Heart Geek, and we heart you. And I'm going to tell you about a way that you can heart us back. So here's the deal. I Heart Geek has just launched our Patreon page. This is a chance for you to help us with production costs and help us keep bringing these podcasts to you. Not a lot of people know it. We don't make any money making this podcast, but we do it because we heart geek, we heart bringing it to you, and we heart obsessing over the things that you heart. So how do you become involved? Super simple. There are 4 tiers of support. The first tier of support is only $3 a month, about the price of a cup of coffee if you don't go to Starbucks. And we will love you like we love Baby Yoda, except for Blythe, who doesn't feel the Baby Yoda love, which... So now tier 2 is $5 a month, which now we're talking like a drip coffee and a cookie. And for that, we'll display your name during the show and also put you in the end credits. Name recognition, y'all. Now tier 3, $10 a month. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. We will actually take your suggestions and we will put them in the rotation of the show. So whatever you obsess about, which we already probably obsess about, we will obsess about on air. All right, now we're talking tier 4. We're talking the Triforce Excalibur Infinity Gauntlet level of subscription. $20 a month will get you as a regular rotational cast member on the show. We'll have you come on. We'll discuss the things that you heart, the things that we heart. We'll argue, we'll laugh, we'll have a great time. And you will have made I Heart Geek better for your subscription. And of course, you can tell all your friends, hey, haha, I'm on a podcast. So there you have it. 4 easy ways to help I Heart Geek become a listener-supported podcast, and you get something in return. We heart you, we thank you, We heart geek, and remember to keep on geeking on.
And now, let's see what all of our geek rock stars have to say.
Okay, so you notice the screen changed a little bit, but we are doing our listener feedback. Our listener feedback question was, I'm looking at it right now, who's your favorite character from NeverEnding Story and why? That I know that's real original for these, but yeah.
I know. I've never heard that one before.
It's like Dub writes every one of these.
He does. Now, we will remind you, so the questions might be the same, but the comments can be the same too. If you didn't tell me why, I'm not going to read your answer on the air. So make sure you tell us why, because that's really the fun part. Because we want to know why you like something, not just because, you like it. So it's cool. So Dino, I know. So well, we've been deep this whole show. I just stay there in the weeds. So Dino from the
podcast.
Sister Gomork. Very cool design and voiced by the great Alan Oppenheimer. And if any of you have not gone to look at this on the Facebook page, he posted a picture. So if you've never seen it, looking at you, Kimberly Romaine.
You need to watch this movie, Kimberly.
You need to watch it, and then you'll see what the Gomork looks like. Jill Cathcart said Morla the giant turtle, because turtles are awesome. Agreed. Now in particular, because she does a pretty good job on summing up how I feel about a lot of things going on right now. Love it. I have a turtle tattoo. Michelle Silva. So this is a spoiler.
Duh.
If somebody, Kimberly Romine, who might be the only person who's never seen it. I won't pick on you anymore, Kimberly. I promise.
Yes,
Archer, I probably will. Archax, he hauled Atreyu all over the place and paid with his life because he had a sensitive soul. Steve Fitzmaurice says, I gotta say, for me, it's Falcor. Reminds me of the drakes in a game I played back in grammar school. Is a dragon, which is always cool. Dub agrees.
Mm-hmm. I'm a dragon freak. Yep.
He's a dragon fanatic, and he can fly. And then Christina Belden, who is, you see her all the time on the panel with us, says Falcor. He's the trifecta of perfection. He's a luck dragon. He can fly, and he's an eternal optimist. Not to mention, he's an uber super cuddly bonus. And I have to tell you, when I first read that, Christina, I actually read it wrong and said that he was a super cuddly uber.
That mean he charges you for his flights?
Right. I mean, like, it still makes sense that way, though, too, doesn't it?
It kind of does. Because
right, like,
wow. Yeah. Okay, that wins.
Sorry.
That one.
So that's all we have, guys. Thank you so much for your listener feedback. We love you.
Okay, thank you all for the feedback. We appreciate it.
Y'all.
So this is kind of the main event, and the main event is Fantasia, and that's like 90% of the movie. We've gotten through 10% of the movie, kids.
I'm doing the sound effects for the main event.
So the first scene you meet a very endearing character, the Rockbiter, and you meet Teeny Weeny, and I never knew that was his name till this very moment, who is played by one Deep Roy, who was also in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And
he's all the Oompa Loompas
every
in the
one
new
of them.
Charlie and the he's the entire Oompa Loompa population.
They did?
overdubbed him. Yeah, it's not his voice. It is not his voice.
He's done a lot of stuff. Like, if you look, he has an immense resume where you don't realize it's him, because usually he's in some sort of costume. It's usually fantasy stuff, so he's usually covered in a costume. And,
he seems like a guy that I would love to hang out with and just talk to, and it'd be bizarre and off the wall, and you'd be drinking absinthe and
so you were the entire Oompa Loompa population in Charlie and Chocolate.
Honestly, I think that his movie career is probably the least interesting part of him. He just has that air about him that just is fascinating.
I would probably spend the whole time just staring at his eyes, because that man has the most glorious, huge eyes.
Yeah.
It's like a mantis, but not scary.
Nice. And then we also...
so descriptive. I love that.
Thank you.
We also meet Night Hob and his stupid bat. I love the bat. I did.
Just love.
But those three characters, they really are probably some of the most endearing throughout the movie, and they kind of disappear after that, except for the callback at the end. What?
But the Rock Fighter does show up, and he's like, you know, when he's sitting there, and he's
such strong hands.
Go, Sean.
Big
Strong hands, don't they?
Yeah.
I can tell you that adult Sean and wee little Sean watching this movie disagree about what is the saddest moment in the movie, because for me, that was the saddest moment in the movie. That wins over the other
last one.
There's no way.
Yep.
There's no way that we're going to avoid that topic while we're talking about this. So, but when we get there, just remember that I think that moment is the second saddest, and the big strong hands for me broke my heart.
I'm with you on that, Sean.
It did when I was a kid until probably, honestly, and it did until about 3 or 4 years ago when I watched the Adult Swim, when they did the take on the rock biter and his big strong hands. It goes, well, I guess, you keep talking about your big strong hands, but you let him go. And he goes on, well, I guess I kind of let him go. Yeah, and he was just trying to convince everybody they're big strong hands, but he just didn't do it. That ruined it for me.
Nothing tore them away from him.
Yes.
I'm not saying it didn't. I will still look at this in my kid eyes and really be.
It's so funny because as a father, I would think actually you would relate to that rock biter moment more. You know, I don't have kids, and I still was like, because that desire to protect the people that I love.
We have made this movie so deep,
right?
It is though. I mean, when you look at the issues, yeah, it is pretty dang deep.
Yeah,
you know, the loss of imagination. And
then, let's jump over into the next scene we see, which is when we see the ivory tower. How many elephants had to be killed for the ivory tower? Anyway, but that visual, we hadn't seen anything like that when we were kids. Anything.
No.
And that was like us watching, that was like the Jurassic Park moment of our generation.
Yeah.
A lot of kids hit the Jurassic Park moment like, wow, dinosaurs are real. We hit that and like, oh, fantasies are real.
Yeah.
How did they do this? This is amazing. I don't know how they climbed up there, but they don't mention that.
There's a list of those for me. It's like the Goonies when they see the pirate ship for the first time.
Yes.
You know, it was so. I just remember seeing it and being like, I want that.
Yeah.
I need to go there.
Yes.
But the tower is that moment for a lot of people, and I'm sure.
And it holds up even in HD. It's because so many things were done with practical effects, because we didn't have the kind of CGI that we do now. Thank God, because of that, a lot of it holds up, and it's just stunning when you first get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they could have destroyed that totally by too much CG, too much computer. It could have been all bad.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the coolest character in the movie, and along with that, grew up to be kind of the coolest adult in real life who builds motorcycles for a living, just has that rock star cool guy, which was Atreyu. Yeah, Atreyu.
Yeah.
How cool is that guy? I mean, who didn't, as a boy anyway, who didn't want to be him?
Well, dude, he grew up to be a tattoo artist. So
yeah,
he really,
he's like, and you're cool. He
was teaching dance at 13? He was a dance teacher.
Wow.
Until he was injured actually on set. A horse fell on him and broke his back, and he ended up with what are those things called? Steel spikes. Steel rods in his spine. And he did almost all of his own stunts, and was continually injured actually on set. And I think can I say badass?
Sure.
You just did.
I just did.
I mean, I don't know if I'll get guitared out, but that actor was a badass.
Yeah,
that's what shone through into the character of Atreyu, because as soon as he showed up and had more chutzpah than anybody at that meeting at the Ivory Tower, it was like, holy smokes.
And he was a kid. Sean, go ahead.
Two things real quick. One, I would like to say that I teach primitive skills and wilderness survival for a living, so I did grow up to be Atreyu. Thank you. And two, a lot of us have a mutual friend. Shout out to Paul Draper, who is
he's been on the show.
He's been on the show.
cultural anthropologist and mentalist and amazing guy, and
worships the devil. I think is the things he does anyway.
I'm
Sometimes.
telling you,
Now he's Jewish.
he's regularly asked. He's regularly asked to be a panel MC for like cons, and
Yeah.
and has interviewed him multiple times,
Mhm.
and he
Really?
says he's one of the nicest guys in the world, and wound up like after the
Yeah.
second time he was like, "Can I get your number?" And to this day will still randomly text Paul out of the blue just to say hi and hey, how are you? And he's like,
Makes me so
there's
happy.
not a nicer guy. So
I love it when our childhood heroes turn out to be good people and not buttholes, like
Yeah, not to
most
be
of them
jerks.
turned out to be.
Yes.
Oh,
And
that makes me so
childhood star too.
Yeah.
It just didn't get to his head.
Did he do anything after this?
Not much. Something I did not realize is he was boxer on Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I had
The-
no idea.
the
when he was
original
younger. The
Galactica?
original. The original
original.
Galactica.
Huh.
I didn't recognize him at all. And then after this, he became a big teen idol in Europe because, of course, this is a German film. This
Yeah.
is not an American film.
And it definitely shows.
And it definitely shows. And then after that, he was like, well, I'm sure the injuries had a lot to do with it. He was sort of done and, grew
Yeah.
up to, I think he raced motorcycles or something.
He-
He's just like
he-
the coolest guy on
He
the planet.
did custom motorcycles. I know he did tattoos. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
that's just
It-
not fair. to do
Yeah,
that.
it looks like I quickly IMDb'd him. It looks like he was like working until the end of the 80s
And then
in
stopped.
film, and then he just stopped. And now he's actually been back in the last recent decade. But it's all of those like straight to
Video.
DVD horror movies.
Fun.
So
I would like to see him
And-
get another
which
chance.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Oh,
think he
and the
deserves another
Spotify
chance.
commercial. That if listeners, if you haven't seen this yet, you got to see the Spotify commercial.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to move. Let's talk. Let's see. We made a trail. Let's go to the Swamp of Sadness, which literally
Ah,
That's
Okay.
my saddest part. I'm
this
sorry,
is
but
this
it
is the one that I know Blythe likes to laugh at because people still get upset about it to this day. And as an adult, I see some serious issues with this scene.
Huge.
Huge issues. But at the time, I mean that's the first time we learned to cry in a movie. Most of us.
Oh, is this the where?
The Swamp of Sadness with Artex.
Artax.
Oh yeah. See, I'm such a weird kid. I never cried.
That's
I didn't either.
you guys
Mine
are
was
both-
Lion Witch in the
You guys are
Wardrobe.
sociopaths.
Yeah, I was
know,
like,
like,
okay,
look,
he's dead.
I'm not-
Moving on.
I'm not saying that it's not a super sad moment. I'm just saying,
Right.
like, it's just Rockbiter was a little worse for me. I will say that I'm known on the I Heart Geek Facebook page for posting memes. Like, I love
you
me
won.
some meme.
You won.
The most hate I have ever received ever
Oh.
I'm
for
still
me
sending that hate to you.
was
That
the
was-
planter. It's two planters, and in one of them you put Atreyu, and in the other you put the head of Artax with him holding the reins. And I got so much hate for that meme. I think I just put time ellipses sorry.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, it's horrible.
it's so
it's
good.
it's a big enough scene that I don't know any person in our generation, and that's the above and below where we're kind of at, that does not immediately recognize that scene and cannot tell you everything about it in the moment they felt. It was an important moment in movies.
I'm going to throw it out there. Was Atreyu really sad at that point that he lost?
That was my
Arthur?
issue with it. Why, if not, he's a sociopath, and
Yeah, because he just lost his horse.
and he's crying.
He's
and because he was left into
crying,
the swamp.
so he's in the swamp of sadness, but he's sad, but he's not drowning or
He was in on a solid patch. He was sitting on a solid patch.
Stretch.
I think I feel like it was being implied that at that point Bastion was carrying him a little bit, like that Bastion was like,
Ooh.
don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Was what was going on there, and that's what got him through.
Solid patch.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Bastion was a solid.
Bastion
Way
was
too
a
deep.
solid
Way too
patch.
deep.
What I could
We are
what
way
I
in the
could
swamp
say,
now, folks.
what I could say, this is the last thing we'll say on this and move on. What I always took it as was, okay, well, the sadness of the swamp didn't get him. The sadness of losing his friend got him. So I think it's a And it's all an allegory for depression. I think is going through that swamp, and if
Yeah.
you can't get out, you can't get out. If you can keep yourself above it, you can make it. And other things
Right.
can bother you. The things that go bad in your life can bother you, but the depression's not getting to you. And I don't know if I'm just making that up now.
Well,
I kinda
Atreyu
pulled that
also
out.
had
Yeah.
purpose.
It
Well,
works.
he was there.
What did we start the movie with? Bastion lost his mom. So that could have been.
Ah.
Well, because Atreyu is a surrogate for Bastion
Yeah.
It.
in a way.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's what he wants to be.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Fight Club was based on this movie.
That is a true fact.
And now that I say it, you guys can see exactly how that fits. Atreyu is Brad Pitt. I'm just saying.
Atreyu is
we're
Tyler
moving so
Durden.
quickly, and because I said it earlier, I'm going to throw this out there now. My one problem with the movie is similar to the fact that he didn't sink into the swamp. For me, it was the fact that, like, when he had to walk through where the two sphinxes were, the two guardians,
Mhm.
and they
griffins?
opened their eyes and they shot their lasers at him. Does that mean that he wasn't worthy, or was the whole point of that challenge that he had to dodge the lasers?
Yeah.
I think it was
you know,
because he
'cause-
had to face the self-doubt.
Yeah.
And so he had doubt in his heart, but he, despite the doubt, pressed through. And that's sort of like with courage. Like my definition of courage is not being fearless.
Mhm.
It's having fear but going forward anyway.
Yeah,
and I think
courage
that's
comes
what the
out-
test was.
Yeah. What is it? Bravery comes after the deed. Like,
Oh, I have never heard that. I love
That's
it.
good.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Well, and also it could have been that was part of the test because they are going to open their eyes, and if you don't feel your worth, you're not going to dodge.
True.
mhm.
So I'd say this is a million ways you could take this, and I like to try to make my own answers why. So because even as a kid, I love this movie so much that I loved the movie that I wanted to not see the mistakes in it. And I think that's
Oh yeah.
kind of part of the mystique with it. Now, and then is it me or is
Yes.
the Shell Mountain? Is that ET's face?
The turtle?
Hmm.
Yes,
It's not wide enough to be ET.
it's pretty close.
It's similar.
I thought it was when I was a kid, and to this day, I use vernacular from NeverEnding Story probably at least once a week when I say I would like to have a turtle pee, Mountain Dew. So that's. You think I'm kidding? I actually use that vernacular.
No, I know you're not kidding.
Beat on dub.
Satomi is like this close to being done with you after that one. You could pinpoint the actually moment where she's like, "Oh, dog."
Dubs, could you put Satomi and I in a breakout room so we can continue this conversation? Paige, you can come too.
Oh, Skeeter can go too. I just going to be standing here carrying the.
Skeeter knows he's invited.
It's implied.
Did,
Hi,
did
guys.
anybody else?
I'm the loneliest
wonder-
guy in the world right now.
As a kid, I
Dubs,
never-
Dubs, don't sink into the swamp of sorrow. It's okay. Joking. Anyway, Skeeter, go ahead. Sorry.
I never as a kid, I didn't see the the we that Morla kept talking about, but the whole time I don't know, the turtle kept saying we think we, and like I think Atreyu actually calls it out. He's like, who's the we that we're talking about here? Like, is there more than one of you? Are you the right
We've
person?
been alone so long. We
Well,
started
we start talking to ourselves.
ourselves.
Well,
He had
the
multiple
other thing-
personality.
Okay,
There
I'm
is
gonna-
so much in this. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry.
I'm going to blow everybody's mind.
No.
Sean probably knows this already. Well, one theory could be that in many cultures, the turtle is believed to be the Earth. That the Earth
true.
is
Yeah,
we're
turtle
we're
island.
just solely riding on the back of a turtle
Turtle
Yeah,
Island, yeah.
because so I
Totally
mean
did.
there's a bunch of and it's I know that there's several Native American cultures that believe this.
Yeah.
Whole Polynesians believe that the Earth is on a turtle's back.
Mhm.
So
The
maybe
whole
he's talking about
series.
everybody because
The
we
Chinaman Pat in
would
Hawaii.
be
Yeah.
yeah, would be
Terry
everybody.
Pratchett believes that we're on a turtle's
Discworld.
back.
I think he
Yeah,
actually
Discworld.
believes that. So yeah.
Probably. But yeah, so I mean maybe that's where that's coming from because it's
Yeah.
not just one culture, it's in several there are numerous cultures that believe that the turtle represents the earth and we ride on his back.
Sure.
So there's that.
Oh, so
Hard
I
sell when it's
Y'all are
upside
going
down.
deep. I get to go too.
I got to move us forward because I apologize. I should have scheduled this for a 2-hour show. I didn't, and we have other
Hey,
things to do. So I
It's a good
apologize.
topic.
So let's move on to my favorite character, which was the Luck Dragon,
That's
Oh,
everyone's favorite character.
Falcor!
Falcor. I don't know what it is that he's like he's the very cool uncle. You know, I don't know if Bastion had a cool uncle, but that would be the cool uncle that said, you know what? I know you're a whiny little child and you're annoying, but I still love you. And that's really, he seems like that. You know, he'd cuddle you up and do all
And he
that.
flies.
And he flies.
And he talks about luck quite a bit.
And he swims.
And he looks like a dog.
And he likes scratches
speaking of
behind
the
you.
swimming, I have to say it. If you look really, really close, the bala sharks, the gouramis, like when he dives in to get the necklace in the water, like if you watch that scene, it's a fish tank. Like,
Yeah, it's a fish tank. It's
legitimate
clearly a fish tank.
It's
But that's
the
what
best.
a kid would picture in his mind when he was reading that
True.
too. Because
Yeah.
he'd never
True.
seen the ocean.
Nope. It's straight
Nope.
up.
Nope.
Nope.
I remember having to try to visualize how Falcor actually got the Orin back because his mouth is so
So
huge
huge,
and the
and-
Orin is
Right.
so
He
small.
did
so I
it
was
with
like,
luck.
oh,
He's got a dragon.
Oh,
He's got a forked tongue. He's a dragon.
he
scooped
doesn't
it.
have a
he does
forked
not.
tongue, but
He
it's
has a
definitely
flat dog
prehensile.
tongue. Yeah,
I know, but
He looks like a dog.
he can transform.
that's it. Again, we'll make excuses because we
Like
love it.
Maleficent.
Shifter.
Mhm.
World of pure imagination.
Right.
So, did anybody else feel like the bad guy wasn't really bad enough? I was more
When
scared
I
by
was a
Gamork
kid,
than the Nothing.
Yeah, Morg was
Gamork was
Gamork was
terrifying.
amazing.
pretty
Yeah.
terrifying. The green eyes.
hmm
And the last time you see him, when his muzzle is all scarred and bloodied, and he's got a little bit of blood on his teeth,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
so threatening.
And I never did understand why he was helping. I still to this day don't understand. He goes, "Well, why are you helping him?" Because then there's nothing, and the nothing way. I'm like, but you don't exist anymore.
Maybe he doesn't want to exist.
It's existentialism at its best.
There's your depression right there. A lot of people
Yeah.
give into the depression.
anymore.
and
Mhm.
help
So
him.
maybe he figured the best thing he could do because he didn't want to be around anymore was to help the nothing because that means he doesn't have to be around anymore.
You know, I would like to watch this again, probably with Sean and some other, and maybe Todd, and let's
Mhm.
start picking out all of the
Oh, it is a clown car of philosophy, dude.
yeah, the
gonna be-
philosophy. No, seriously, I think
Yeah.
there's so much
Yeah.
in it, and the more we're talking about, it, the more I'm seeing. I'm like, wow, this needs to be
Oh,
watched
yeah.
again.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're gonna have a philosophy of episode 2 for this,
Mhm.
I think.
Mhm.
Okay, now,
Nihilism.
that was
Aspects
that would
of it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Google the NeverEnding Story explained, and
Oh,
look
boy.
at about how many articles and ideas there are.
Oh my!
I love that.
Oh.
I love that.
289 million.
I'm writing thesis papers on this.
What
I
an
love it.
amazing thing. What an amazing thing that, because I mean, true art is left to interpretation, right? And the fact that I
Mhm.
know that we made the joke about lazy writing earlier, but I think that if it's purposeful and it's intentional,
Yeah.
to leave it that open to interpretation, that it's also a mark of genius,
I
That
agree.
idea of like Mozart said, like, that I don't break the rules, I do more within the rules than anyone else. Like I love that.
and with all of this said, I want you guys to step back and think about one thing. This is a child's movie.
Is it though?
Is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's definitely made. It's made for kids, and I think because you were a kid and you understood it to your level,
Mhm.
which is
That's
what.
true.
And honestly, I think this has probably has had more effect in our generation than Star Wars, than a lot of movies did. Because and you don't realize how important it is. So you're sitting here, 30 years later, and we're discussing all the things that really did hit us. No one realized it hit you as deep as it hit you until you start discussing it.
Oh, it definitely
these years
influenced
later.
me about the importance of imagination
Yeah.
and to face your fears and to move through. There's so I can't even put into words how deep this film was for me and still is.
I think Satomi hit it right on the head right there. But if you look at a lot of the movies that we love from the 80s, The Goonies, Star Wars, this one, E.T., they were very much catered to the belief that imagination is important and it's okay to imagine different and fun things.
Yeah.
And so if you look at the movies now, they don't quite have the same feel. I guess we were lucky as kids growing up because our movies were telling us you can dream about having a flying dragon or being a space knight or or finding a pirate ship.
Yeah.
There
Just
was an
offshore.
expansiveness to
Building
it.
your own
Yeah.
spaceship and flying into space.
Oh my gosh, the
Yeah.
explorers!
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
Yeah.
and
So there was that, or
Yeah,
you
the
can go into a
value.
you can go into a computer game and beat the evil mainframe.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there was.
You can have a
and
little pet
this-
robot that'll launch you into space.
no.
I'm sorry, I'm bad at this.
I know which movie you're talking about too.
That could
Space
fit a
Camp.
lot of them.
Space Camp.
Camp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
yeah.
I'm getting that for my nieces for Christmas because my
Nice.
niece wants to be an
Oh.
astronaut now.
Nice.
So I'm like, here you go.
Good.
I
But-
love everything NASA.
Oh, but yeah, one other thing on this, it's really interesting. All these movies we talked about, it really did for the first time and why this important to our generation, it made the geek important. You made the geek as a central character. You know, the
True.
people that don't have it together that, I
The
mean,
outcasts, the
cool
misfits.
kids think they have it all, or at least act like they have it together. The geeks don't act like they have it together at all. And that's what they really gave us.
It
The Charlie
reminds me.
buckets in life.
Yeah.
Yes.
It reminds me of the song that the Guild put out that said, "I'm the one that's cool."
Yeah.
Where for listeners who haven't heard it, it's basically they sing about how they were geeks growing up, but now geeks are the cool ones.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it
bye.
was a lot to do with these movies that came out that we finally all grew up and like, oh.
And we
So
never
it is-
lost our geekiness.
It is cool to love you to still have your passions. You know, that can not only be something that you don't have to hide, it can be something of who you are is your passions, which is part of the show.
We went to we have a band thing every year here. My niece was in band and we went to this high school band competition all over the football field. And I'm like, man, times have changed. It's like back in the day, like the Letterman's jacket, the cool car, the stuff was awesome. My niece goes, yep, times have changed. Those kids on the field rule the school. And I was like, wow, that's intense. Like, that's your passion.
And I'm so glad.
Your passion. That's so awesome.
I don't want to see anybody as an outcast anymore. I really don't. I want to, for whatever your passion to be what everybody accepts about you, and finding people that have your passion. One of the great things about the internet. But yeah.
And all it takes is one grain of sand and you can build your own universe.
I don't know how to. Okay.
That moment, I mean, still to this day, chills. Actually, no, I know we're going to talk about the end a little bit later, but those meta moments near the end of the film, to this day, is like it's that handing over of the baton to all of you. All of you out there have this capability to create entire worlds within
I remember
you.
my mind being blown when the childlike Empress was saying, and he was with us when they were in the swamp, and he was talking about how that we were with Bastion.
That's
Like,
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I'm piggybacking on that.
Massive.
Like,
How do they know about
mind
me?
blown.
Yes.
Me?
Well, as a kid,
Is it
that's
me?
amazing. It's like
me,
you get,
right?
yeah, to get acknowledged like that
Oh,
on the journey too. You're like, oh, I was helping?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And,
Cool.
and
It was
there-
like,
and there's
my-
nothing
my-
extraordinary about this kid.
Yeah.
No.
No.
And the look
My
on his
movie, I was
face
like-
when he's like, are they talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I was like, wait, but that means they're talking about me. And the movie's like, no, Sean, we're talking about Satomi. But
and this movie did what a lot of 80s movies afterwards let happen. The geek got the girl at the end. Ooh, yeah. Tammy Stronach, by the way. Yeah. Childlike Empress, which was
Stunning.
oh my
She's
gosh.
Stunning. She
Stunning.
still is stunning.
Oh yeah, she's a very interesting person. I've seen some
She-
interviews.
She lost her 2 front teeth during filming, and they had to fit her with false teeth.
With flappers.
And she had to relearn how to speak because it was giving her a lisp. So it's one of the reasons I always thought it was so cool. Like with her lips, she kind of had this little pout.
Pout.
She was covering her false teeth.
That's really interesting.
that's amazing.
Okay, unfortunately, we're out of time, so let's do our grades before and after quick, and then we'll do our closeout things. Sean, give me your 2 grades from when you first watched it to when you watched it most recently.
They're both A for RN.
Outstanding. It's an
Yeah.
O.
No, it's an AU, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
AU.
Oh.
AURYN.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Aryan. Anyway.
No, AU.
Okay.
Oh.
So it's a
Kate,
silver. It's a silverin.
So you've seen Gavroche, who runs around the other cat that you won't see because it's elusive as Arin. So yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
Named after NeverEnding Story. Yeah.
Very good. Skeeter.
Nothing changed. It's an A. It's an A for me all day.
Outstanding. Let's go to Miss Geeky Page.
It's a B. Don't hate me, guys. It wasn't. I didn't love it as much as all. I mean, I enjoyed it. I really did. I did love it, but it was never. That wasn't the one that I watched all the time and wanted to be. I didn't want to be the childlike Empress. I didn't want to be Atreyu. I didn't want to be Bastion.
You want to be a luck dragon?
Kind of.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Who doesn't?
You nailed it.
You're allowed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Very.
I mean, I
very
still enjoyed
much.
it, but yeah. So I'm going to go with a B because it is such a wonderful movie. It's just not my all-time favorite from
Good.
childhood.
Satomi.
I was an A+ then. I'm an A+ now for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that some of the things in it are dated. I recognize that it has some weaknesses, but I don't care. When I was a kid, it was because I felt invited and in the story and like anything was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And as an adult, I see the deeper things that we sort of touched on today.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it very profound.
I want to go back and watch it again now that we've had this discussion, and I want to watch it with the eye of
everybody
everything,
should.
everything that we've been talking about, because none of that really occurred to me as I was rewatching it. So
oh, it's so deep.
I want to go back and do it again.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this is the only movie that we've done so far that I can say this. It was an A+ when I first watched it. It's an A+ now. I think it is perfection.
Awesome.
So, Tommy, tell us about our favorite charity. We can get out of here. Or did
Broadway
you have something to say?
Hearts. Oh, anyone? Okay,
Sorry,
I'll keep
go ahead.
going. Broadway Hearts. You can check us out at www.broadwayhearts.org. You can please check out our YouTube page. You can see videos of some of our members as well as some of the videos that we've produced for the kids in the hospitals. If you have a hospital that you would like us to visit virtually, do reach out and let us know. We have a really good time with those kids and the families, and it helps them more than you know. At one point on one of these episodes, I'll tell you a couple stories, and it will. It'll get you in the place where the feels live.
Nice. Sean, you want to tell people how to hire you to teach them to be better people?
rugged individualist, ruggedindividual.ist. Also, I've got a bunch of stuff. I'll post links all over the Facebook for. I'm in Romeo and Juliet as Lord Cap. I'm playing Iago and Othello, and I'm directing Charlotte's Web for a children's theater. All of these are streaming. So
wow,
links and tickets are coming, and yeah.
Nice.
I will watch.
And Skeeter, do you want to hit your Right Turn Racing real quick?
Right Turn Racing, still in the growth phases, but we are moving a lot faster than I thought we would. We're getting together. We're actually partnering with some NASCAR drivers now that are local to us. We hope that they will be able to find the time, especially in COVID and everything like that, to be able to kind of put some FaceTime in with us. But we built Right Turn Racing for kids that need to make a right turn in life. Everybody knows that race cars go left. We want to make them go right. So
nice.
That's
Very
what
good.
we do. That's what we're about. Big, strong hands.
I hope you're holding on to them there, Skeeter.
Love it.
Okay, that was a fantastic show. I'm sorry if it felt rushed, but we had this movie was way deeper.
We could
than
talk for
I could have
another
imagined.
hour at least.
Yeah.
And so I have a feeling this conversation will continue in the comments of the YouTube and the Facebook. Subscribe, do all that stuff. We love hearing from you. Until next time, I'm Dub. I'm here with Sean and his magical beard. I'm here with Skeeter and his Right Turn Racing. I'm here with Satomi and Broadway Hearts, and we're here with Miss Geeky Page, who keeps me sane.
Try.
Really do. Love y'all. Catch you next time. Keep on geeking on.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show.
make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.